So hi everyone, thanks so much for coming. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Regine Adam and I was born and raised in Munich, Germany. And while I lived in Europe for most of my life, I have traveled extensively around the world. Travel is really my passion. Well, I guess that's quite obvious. And I have been in the travel business for over 20 years now. I joined Cruise Planners in January of this year, and I'm now a franchise owner. It was actually my best decision, especially now during this pandemic, as I get tremendous support and have access to the latest information, which is extremely helpful now. Despite the name Cruise Planners, which is a little bit confusing for some people, I'm specialized in both land and cruises. I also would like to introduce to you my longtime BDM, Steve Bajarka. He's from our waterways, and he will tell you more about Christmas market river cruises during the second part of my presentation. Okay. So please raise your glass, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. We are right in the middle of a Christmas market, and maybe some of you had time to do the Glühwein, and he is actually one of the mugs here, the Christmas market mugs, and thanks again for coming.
Cheers.
I would like to tell you a little bit about the history of the Christmas markets. And it was funny because I talked about it with Steve the other day. A number of cities and towns are claiming that they had their first Christmas market. But I would say it started in the Middle Ages, so 12th century. And it was somewhere in Northern Europe. Some claim it's Dresden, some say it's Vienna. Even, you know, Munich is one of the cities that say, well, we had the first one. Doesn't really matter. It was in Northern Europe, and really families at that time went out and sold their toys and homemade ornaments and food. And a lot of this has been, is really going on right now too. And it's just really a beautiful atmosphere. So the kind of the Christmas market that is closest to my heart is Munich. Well, I mean, no surprise, because I was born, as I mentioned before, in Munich, and I basically grew up with the Christmas markets there. And for some of you might have been to Munich, it's just, it's really a beautiful bird view of the Marienplatz, the center of Munich, with the city hall in the back and the Frauenkirche. And right in the middle is one of the Christmas markets. And that's typical for a lot of cities. It's not just one Christmas market they have in Munich. It's around 15, 16 in different areas of Munich. Whether it's the Victorian market or the English garden. Some are more, they have, it's called medieval Christmas markets. Some is like the manger area where you can find everything you need for, you know, for also for your decoration. And it's just, it's a competition between the Christmas markets within the city and of course all over Germany and Europe. So what is so really so special about Christmas markets is that you can often see the artisans there who are doing their crafts and also demonstrating it. So Christmas markets are really not for tourists only. Of course, you find a lot when you go, but the locals, for them, it's, I mean, you go there too, and that's what we did as a family. Also, when you work, after work, you go. It's almost like a happy hour. You know, you get a Glühwein, a hot mulled wine, talk to your colleagues, or go there with the family. So this is really, you mingle with the locals when you go to the Christmas markets. Here you can see actually some of the typical ornaments you find in Munich, in Bavaria, and I mean it's it's always fun to just, stroll through the Christmas market and look at the different things they offer. What is also very known in Germany, and especially in Munich, is the Steif teddy bears. Some of you might know them, and you find a number of displays throughout Munich, and it's always fun to watch them. As I mentioned before, Christmas markets are also really perfect for family time. And 2 years ago, actually, I joined my older daughter, Emily, in Munich. She was doing one semester, she was studying in Munich. And I said, well, let's explore some more of the Christmas markets and do it right when you're done with your semester. And not only, I mean, of course, she knew Munich, but, we really wanted to explore more. And originally we had planned to go on a Christmas river cruise because that's probably the most relaxing and fun way to do it, where you don't have to pack and unpack. But unfortunately, Emily had her finals during the week where, it just wasn't possible that we could go. So we took the second best option and took the train. And taking the trains, and some of you might have done it already in Europe, is really fun too. So here you can see the ice train, ICE, that's the German train. And the other one is the French one, the TGV. And as a special surprise, we went to Paris for our first trip. But here you can see before that, how it looks inside the trains. They're really very comfortable. Actually, this picture I took over the summer. We were in Germany, and this was a brand new ICE ice train, and it's really very comfortable to travel. So from Munich to Paris, it's around 4.5, 5 hours on the fast trains. And actually, I just did one slide of Paris because when we left, that was the last week in November. And usually, a number of Christmas markets are already open. The ones in Paris weren't, but even without it, it was just beautiful decoration. And I mean, I could do a whole webinar on Paris, just, about Paris. So I just thought I give you just a glimpse of it and show you how beautiful it is, even without a Christmas market at that time. We went on the River Thames with the Eiffel Tower and of course Les Deux Magots. I mean, you always have to have coffee there, no matter how cold it is. You sit outside and watch people go by, and the Champs-Élysées. So, I mean, we really had some fun time and spent a couple of days there. However, then we went on to basically our first Christmas market. That's Colmar, very close to Strasbourg. And it's around 2 hours by train from Paris. And it's really a beautiful place, one you want to visit for the Christmas markets. It's really a small, more like a village, and they basically decorate the whole village in Christmas mood, kind of. It's like here they have an advent calendar, so they converted a house or decorated it that way that you have an advent calendar. And then you go on and you see all the beautifully decorated houses and the stalls where you can walk through. And of course, all kinds of food. I mean, Emily, as you can see, is enjoying a crepe there. That's one of her favorites. But there's something to do for everybody. There's also St. Nicholas there. And there were some fun games for kids. So it's basically for all ages. Yeah, and here you see the vin chaud, or the hot mulled wine. Something very typical. So about half an hour away from Colmar is Strasbourg. And as you can see, it's called Strasbourg, Capitale de Noël. So it's the Christmas capital They call it of the world. I mean, it's really very amazing. And just like in Munich or other cities, you have in Strasbourg probably around 10, 12 different Christmas markets, and all are different. I mean, Strasbourg is beautiful to visit no matter what time of year. Here we have Little Venice. Obviously, it's called because of all the canals. And so they even have those, decorated the houses there. Then you go on, you have the teddy bear decoration, everything, the half timbered houses, the cobblestone streets. I mean, this is really, again, something very typical for Christmas markets, and everything is beautifully decorated. What is also important to mention, I mean, right now I'm basically showing you all the Christmas markets, but at the same time, of course, you can do other things. Here's the Cathedral of Strasbourg. It's really well known. There are amazing museums there. There are also always concerts during the Christmas market time. So there's really a lot to do here. We also inside the cathedral. And so it's not just eating and drinking on the Christmas or at the Christmas markets. There's plenty to do, whatever you feel like doing. But what I always like, it's not just the Christmas markets, it's everything is really decorated beautifully. The stores, the cafes, everything. And that's just the whole ambiance is just really amazing. So here we had another crepe. You can see that was my daughter's favorite, but I have to admit mine too. And they are all doing a wonderful job. And you just have, with all the smells there, you have to stop and try different things. From Strasbourg, we took the train again to Heidelberg this time. And I know Sarah is also on the call. So Sarah, I know you must remember that. It's just a beautiful backdrop with the castle up there. And it's definitely also one of my favorite Christmas markets there. You can take the funicular up there. And here you see, you have the view. When you go up to the castle, you can either visit the castle, you can just walk around and have this beautiful view over the valley. And that's really a very special treat there. And on the left, you see the Christmas pyramid, which is also something typical German. You can find that, of course, in a much smaller version to take home. And what is also very popular, and some of you might have heard about it, is Käthe Wohlfahrt. They are really known for the ornaments, also for the, from artisans. And I mean, you basically can find anything there. And they also ship it everywhere in case you didn't bring enough suitcase to bring home all your souvenirs. So now I'm kind of, Steve,
yes.
It's
my section of the presentation.
It's your section. Actually, okay. I will join you, but you can start now.
So again, my name is Steve Bajaka. I am the regional sales manager for a North American-based river cruise company. Most of our focus is in Europe. We're based in Switzerland and we're based in California here in the US. This is a slide, an image of one of our ships that we would use for the Christmas market cruises, whether it be on the Rhine or the Danube River. They're all similarly built ships. They're sister ships. This particular ship we're looking at is the Amalea, built in 2018. She holds 156 guests and has a crew of 55. We have 2 dining rooms on the ship, 2 restaurants on the ship. We've got 1 bar lounge area. Most of the staterooms have twin balconies. The ship is set up for families as well, in that we have generational travel. We have connecting staterooms. We've got a couple of triples for staterooms and a couple of quads as well. And this is typical of the ship that you would see going up or down the Rhine any time of year with AMA Waterways. We are known for putting fewer passengers on the ships than some of our competitors. So more space in the staterooms, more space in the public areas. And when you're doing a river cruise of this sort, all of your meals are included in the pricing. All of your excursions, including the Christmas market visits, are included in the pricing. And there's about 5 different options each day, each port for excursions, walking, hiking. We carry touring bicycles on the ship. I know that Regine and her daughter recently sailed with us in the fall, and I saw some nice videos of them biking in Germany, which I thought was kind of neat. So you can see the local, the local ports any way you like, whether it's walking or hiking or biking. This particular vessel here, this is one of our newer ships. This is the Ama Magna. This is the only double width ship currently in Europe. She's of a certain width that she can only sail on the Danube River because the Danube has wider locks that the Magna will fit through. And in this case, this ship holds, instead of 156 passengers, she holds 194. And basically, we've sort of made most of the staterooms into suites. So much larger suites, average suite size between 350 and 475 square feet, which is very large for the river cruise industry. And instead of 2 restaurants, the ship has 4 restaurants and 5 bars. And the whole back there under the blue top there, you can see the fitness center. You've got stationary bikes in there. You've got all kinds of stuff to work off all the calories that we're going to be consuming during the Christmas market. So, and then, so you understand this time of year, we change everything on the ship. It's a 6-week period. Basically, the Christmas markets go from our Thanksgiving all the way to New Year's. And like Regine mentioned earlier, some of the markets open at different times than others, but most are open by the first week of December. Most close shortly after Christmas. There's a few that are open until beginning of January, let's say. But you can see here we've decorated the ship completely. It takes us a full day to decorate the ship. And then there's just various images here of people. These are, you can see the top middle is our wonderful crew that goes around and sings carols, and they play. What's the local, Regine, what's the local tradition of you leave one of your shoes outside?
Right, that's St. Nicholas. Actually, that was on the 5th. That's the night of the 5th. You leave a boot or shoe outside your home, or in this case, your room. And hopefully St. Nicholas comes by and puts some goodies
in there for you. Yes.
And actually my girls, even though they are 21 and 23 now, they're still doing it. And surprise, surprise, there's always something in there.
Still put something in there for them. Yeah. So, so it's a festive atmosphere. This time of year, you would tend to see more families. And when I say families, I'm thinking generational, adult children. Regine, you've taken your daughter on the ship. I've taken my grown children on right. various cruises, and grandparents as well. So you get these generations. It's a nice atmosphere, and everybody just gets into the holiday spirit.
And you know what I also really like about the river cruising, and this is why we wanted to do it originally. I mean, you don't have to pack and unpack all the time. And even though I like taking the train, but it's much more convenient, to be on a ship and then enjoy all the same, Christmas markets we saw, but really the kind of the easy way, and the ship, as you can see, is beautifully decorated. And I think the next one, it's not only the decoration, it's also the food. And I don't know why I put myself in the middle again with a piece of cake, actually apple strudel. Some of you have joined me for my last webinar, where I actually talked about my trip, Shannon and my trip on the Ama Christina. But the food is just outstanding, and it's especially during this time, it's typical for the holidays. Like you have goose there, you have Glühwein, you have the Stollen, also the
cake.
Yeah, right. Schwarzwälder Kirsch is the Black Forest cake. So you really you find everything there.
Yeah. So we give you here, we don't want to assume that people, when we refer to the Rhine or the Danube. So quick map here, nothing to scale, of course, but just showing you that a typical Rhine cruise, whether it's Christmas season or not, would either start up in Amsterdam on the Belgian waterways, down around Cologne, Germany is where the Rhine begins, and then the Rhine, our sail for nautical purposes, ends for us down in Basel, Switzerland. But the neat thing is you can see all these little in between. Cologne, yes, a city, Amsterdam, a city, but you see all these lovely little medieval towns, villages, Lahnstein, Rudesheim, Luftwaffen, Ludwigshafen, excuse me, Ladenburg, Heidelberg, Speyer. We mentioned Strasbourg earlier, which is one of my favorite stops. You can take a hike in the Black Forest on the same day other people are on the French side in Require. So really genuine, authentic German visits to these really old medieval towns that look like in many cases, especially the center of the town, look like they haven't changed in centuries, right? So
That's right, with the
yeah,
cobblestones and everything. Yeah.
yep. So just a quick map there. Amsterdam, if you've not been to Amsterdam, is a wonderful city. So many different things to do. Most of our touring in Amsterdam is by canal. We take out smaller canal boats and we take people in groups of 12, let's say 12 to 15, and we do the whole city by canal. It's a wonderful visit. At Christmas time, they have a festival of lights that's really neat.
Mhm.
So I think that's enjoyable as well. Cologne, this is a nice, these are your photos recently, yes?
Actually, yes, that's recently. So that was actually in the summer, not the one on the right side, but I just had to put it in because I mean, Cologne, what I find so amazing is that you dock right in the center. So I mean, it was almost right on the steps of the cathedral of the Cologne Cathedral, and that's what I really liked. So basically 5 minutes to the entrance. And
Right.
Cologne is again also beautiful city, lots of things to see, and we actually that are the only two cities we show of the Rhine, because all the ones I did before, like Strasbourg, Colmar, and Heidelberg, are also on the Rhine. So this is why we basically covered the Rhine and now move on to the Danube.
Right. So here in this quick down and dirty map, you can see the Danube. I love the Danube for first timers. If you've not river cruised before, the idea that on a 7-night cruise you can be in 5 countries: Germany, Austria, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, which is very interesting, and Hungary. And they're different. They're all different. So the experiences are very different. Germany and Austria have many similarities, but the Czech Republic is unique. Slovakia is very unique to me. And Hungary, Budapest is a great visit as well.
And I mean, it's mainly the bigger cities, except for like the one I'm showing now, the Regensburg, which I like a lot. I mean, this is why I also put in the other picture, that you can see a little bit of Regensburg, but the one Christmas market that is known is inside the Turn und Taxis Palace. It's very special setting there, very romantic, and it's one of a kind, really.
Right. And I do like some of the smaller towns because the markets are a little more intimate, as opposed to going to some of the bigger cities where there's a lot of markets and there's a lot of people milling about. So yeah, but this is a really nice town for Christmas market.
And then here you have Passau, and I have to say I have seen it that way, but it's not always, with snow. This is something, as we all know, it's unpredictable, and I mean, it's beautiful that way, but I couldn't guarantee it. I mean, it's just always a surprise. Sometimes it's snowing during the day, also end of November, December, but you just don't know it. So this is why why I'm always careful. If people expect it, it might be sometimes a disappointment, but
Hit or miss.
nevertheless, I mean, Passau is beautiful no matter when you go, whether it's in summer, fall, winter. It's just it's also the Christmas market is beautiful. It's a smaller one, and certainly something very enjoyable. So here is Salzburg, and that's also one I've been many times, because this is just like 1 hour from Munich. And as I told you, I grew up there. It's with the backdrop you have there, it's it's also very special, very authentic market. See a lot of locals there, and it's always really fun to go there. And I mean, another thing. And I think, Steve, you wanted to talk about it. What also with the river cruises, what makes it special for the Christmas market, because it's there are always specials during that time.
Yeah. So, I mean, the two things that I think about the river cruise market is, number one, a great opportunity to see how Christmas is celebrated in the old world, as my grandmother used to say, and to bring family, travel with family. It's just a great experience. But also, it is the end of the river cruise season for us. So the pricing is greatly reduced. The airfares are reduced. It's price to move type of thing. And then on top of that, you'll always see certain offers. I mean, currently now for next year, we're offering, I think $1,000 off per person and a free upgrade and some shipboard credit, things like that. So there's always little extras there that will make you feel very good about this experience and opportunity. And it is, it's a very short season, but it's a great opportunity to see, to celebrate the Christmas experience.
Right. So here we have Vienna, and you see how different it can be. Either the more glamorous one, right? At the city hall, or you have the sled tree, which I like a lot, which is very special to visit. So you always see the contrast, and especially in big cities like Vienna, they have so many different Christmas markets that you always find something different in each area. And I guess that's also typical, for the Danube. It's more the larger, bigger cities, but they also have the small kind of niches, where they have very special markets there.
I want to point out one other thing, where a city this size, the ship docks here overnight, so you have ample opportunity. We'll guide you with a walking tour or a hiking tour, and then we'll bring you to the markets. But then you can get on and off the ship as many times as you like. I mean, use the ship as your floating hotel. You simply have a key card that you show to the security folks at the front desk, and you get off the ship and you get on the ship. And we do encourage people, even in the small towns, if there's a free couple of hours in the afternoon or after dinner, you're not crazy about whatever the local entertainment is on the ship, go back into town and do something, right? So this is what makes it a really unique experience as to maybe another mode of travel in these parts of Europe.
Definitely. And usually you end in Budapest.
Yeah, this would be, you'd either start in Budapest or you'd end in Budapest, Buda and Pest on either side of the river here. A great walking city. I remember all my stops, because I've been at this for almost 40 years now, 38 years in the industry. I remember by what did I eat off the ship, or what did I drink off the ship, and all the smells and great aromas. And Budapest, I remember having some really, really good pastry shops and bakeries down in the side streets. You have to go sort of off the beaten path, and you just follow your nose. And I had some of the best. I guess it was cherry Danish. My wife had some apple strudel that she still raves about, and we had some of the best coffee I ever had. So little things like that. You make your own adventures. You know, when the escorted part of the touring is over, make your own adventures. Take mental notes. Go back into town. Budapest has a lot of rich history, a lot of really interesting stuff here. Great architecture. But this is where the cruise would actually end on this 7-night cruise. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, no matter how often you've been to Budapest, you always find something new there. That's, you know, that's what I.
Agreed. Amsterdam the same way on the Rhine. Always
Right.
something new to do in Amsterdam.
All the cities. I mean, Munich, wherever you go. Yeah. So now at the end, I have, you know, what I call some insider tips. I mean, we talked about the mugs here, the Glühwein mugs. I don't know whether you're familiar with this. Usually when you get a Glühwein or vin chaud, you get them in a mug like this, and you pay a little bit extra. And if you bring it back, they return some money, but you can also keep it as a souvenir. And I think it's really a nice souvenir from different Christmas markets. Actually, this one is from Dortmund. That's where my older daughter is studying right now, and I thought it was cute because it has this heart shape. And another thing, what is important, especially now in the age of credit cards. I mean, even though some of the Christmas markets of the the stalls, they take credit cards, but most of them still, you know, like the local currency. So it's always important to bring that. Right. And of course, as you can see now with Emily all kind of bundled up, it can get cold there. So you better bring scarf, gloves, hat, and thick soled shoes, because the cobblestone, I mean, after a while you just feel it. And, you know, it's always good to be prepared and bundled up. And for that, you, of course, need also extra luggage. Here, actually, I took a photo of some of, you know, what I bought there at the Christmas market. And as you also can see, my background, that's our Christmas tree. Most, I would say 95% of the ornaments have been bought at local Christmas markets in Germany, Austria, France. And it's always fun to put an extra one there. And, you know, like the candle holder there was from Strasbourg, and some is from Munich, from Bavaria. And there's always something. You can also find small things. So if you don't want to carry the heavy stuff, you know, just pick a few small ones. Really done by the artisans there. There's a lot of choice. So I can even show you some. Actually, let me just close this and share my screen again. 1 second. Kannst du es mal machen? Willst du die Kamera? Jetzt gerade. So okay. Steve, you can stop recording. Yeah. Steve, can you stop recording now, please?
Sure.